Start. Good morning, students. So, how are you all? And how is the weather today? Hot. It's too hot and humid. So, what the weathers we feel? It's sometimes hot, sometimes it's cold, sometimes rainy. Yeah. So, what are the generally the temperature we see? Hot and cold. What are the temperature we see? Either the temperature is hot or the temperature is cold. So my dear students, does the actually temperature mean? What is the meaning of a temperature? Or how can we define temperature? What is temperature? We can say either hotness or coldness. When we talk about temperature, what we say? Either the temperature is hot or it is cold. So what we can say temperature is? Temperature indicates the hotness or coldness of a body. What is the temperature? Temperature indicates the hotness or coldness of a body. So sometimes when our body is hot, we say the temperature is high. When the body is hot, the temperature is high. When the body is cool, then we say temperature is low. So temperature indicates the hotness or coldness of a body. What is the temperature? Temperature indicates the hotness or coldness of a body. So from this definition, the topic of the chapter arises heat and temperature. So what we will study today? Our chapter is heat and temperature. That is your chapter number 6. Okay? So just we learn about the temperature. So temperature is the heatness or coldness of a body. Next, how do we measure this temperature? Next we will study how do we measure this temperature. So I think all have suffered from fever. We all have suffered from fever. So when we are suffering from fever, we goes to the doctor. So what does the doctor do at that particular moment? At that particular moment, generally, doctor used to check our temperature. What does the doctor used to do? Doctor used to check our temperature. How does the doctor check our temperature? Can you say? He generally uses an instrument, and that instrument either he keep in our mouth or either he keep in our armpit, and that particular instrument is called thermometer. What it is called? This particular instrument which is used to measure the temperature of a body, this instrument is called a thermometer. So how we will define thermometer? Thermometer is an instrument used to measure the temperature. What is a thermometer? Thermometer is an instrument used to measure temperature. That it is a device which tells us how hot or how cold our body is. So this is an instrument which tells the temperature of a human body. As you can see, it is made here diagram. So this is our thermometer. What is thermometer? Thermometer is an instrument which is used to measure the body temperature. What is a thermometer? Thermometer is an instrument which is used to measure the body temperature. Okay. Just answer me very thing. Now we are from the previous class. How do we measure the height? When someone comes, how do you tell your height? Either you say I am 5 feet, I am 4 feet. How, or you say in meter. When I said you either this Ranjit Miss used to take your height and weight. How do she used to take? She said you are 165 centimeter tall, you are 1 centimeter tall. So this shows that the height is either measured in meter or feet. So what are these? These are the units of measurement of height. These are the units of measurements of height. As we measure height in meter or feet, somewhat units are used to measure our temperature. In the same way, some units are also used to measure our temperature. What are these units? Can you say? How do we measure? In what unit our body temperature is measured? Our body temperature is measured either in Celsius or in Fahrenheit. How, in what units it is measured? Either it is measured in Celsius or it is measured in Fahrenheit. You can see in this thermometers a scale is made. How does the, first of all, learn how does the thermometer record our temperature? So in a thermometer, this is a bulb. This is called a bulb. This is called a bulb. What happens? What does the doctor do when doctor put this thermometer in our mouth? When the doctor puts this thermometer in our mouth, so what happens? The temperature of a body is felt in this bulb. The temperature of this bulb, the temperature is felt in this bulb. And due to this bulb, as I told in class 6th, I think so you, when we learning chapter number 6, changes around us, so we learn about expansion in liquid. I told about expansion in liquid, that how the temperature is measured in the thermometer. So just we will record here. Thermometer contains what? Last year I told, thermometer contains a liquid metal. Thermometer contains a liquid metal. This liquid metal is called mercury. This liquid metal is called mercury. What is this liquid metal called? This liquid metal is called mercury. So as I told in class 6th, that is expansion in liquid. Remember in the chapter number 6, changes around us, we were learning about expansion in liquid. So this thermometer consists of a bulb and a liquid metal which is known as mercury. This contains a liquid metal which is known as mercury. So when the temperature rises of this mercury start to expand. This mercury start to expand. And what is the temperature felt in our body? This mercury expands up to that level. This mercury extend up to that level. And finally, what is the temperature of our body? It expanded up to that. It expand up to that. It extend up to that. So in this way, the temperature of the human body is measured. Once again, I am repeating. It works on what thing? It works on the expansion of liquid, as I told in class 6th. So in thermometer, when the thermometer is kept in our mouth, so as how much hot our body is, the mercury expand up to that level and reaches a particular temperature, and this is called, this is how thermometer measures the temperature. This is how thermometer measures the temperature. What it does, it uses a non-metal which is called a mercury. So till now what we have studied, what is the temperature? May I know? So what is the temperature? Temperature is the hotness or coldness of a body. What is the temperature? Temperature is a hotness or coldness of a body. Next, how do we measure temperature? The temperature is measured using an instrument which is called as thermometer. What is thermometer? Instrument which is used to measure the temperature is called a thermometer. As you can see here, this is a thermometer. How does the thermometer works? Thermometer works on the principle, or thermometer works according to the expansion of liquid, as in class 6th we have studied. Thermometer works on the basis of expansion in liquid. So as the height is measured in meter or centimeter, in the same way our temperature is measured in Celsius or Fahrenheit. Our body temperature is measured in Celsius or Fahrenheit. So as we have two different units for measurement of height. either feet or either meter. In the same way, here for measuring of the temperature, we have two different units, either Celsius or Fahrenheit. So when we measure height when we measure temperature in Celsius, when we measure temperature in Celsius, so the scale used to measure, for measuring height would we use scale we used to measure a scale, we used to use a scale. So in the same way, when we measure the temperature, we use a certain scale for measuring the temperature. When we use Celsius scale, then when we use a scale which consists of units of Celsius, when we use a scale which consists of units of Celsius, then such type of scale is called Celsius scale. It is called as Celsius scale. For measuring temperature in the units of, for measuring temperature in the units of Celsius, a scale is used, and that particular scale is called Celsius scale. That particular scale is called Celsius scale. And in the same way, when we use the unit Fahrenheit, when we use the scale Fahrenheit, when we use the units Fahrenheit, then such type of scale is called a Fahrenheit scale. Then such type of scale is called a Fahrenheit scale. Okay, so there are two types of scale for using the temperature, so measuring the temperature, Celsius scale and Fahrenheit scale. So till now what we have studied, just we will recall it out, and next class we will study next. What is the temperature? Temperature indicates the hotness or coldness of body. What is the temperature? Temperature indicates the hotness or coldness of a body. How can we measure the temperature? We can measure the temperature through an instrument which is used to which is called as thermometer. So an instrument used to measure the temperature is called a thermometer, as you can see in this diagram. Next is how the thermometer works. So thermometer works on the basis of expansion in liquid. It contains a liquid which is called as liquid metal, which is called as mercury. On what basis it works? It works on the basis of expansion in liquid.
Excuse me.
Next, what are the scale are used for measuring the temperature? So there are two scale which are used for measuring the temperature. It is Celsius scale. What is the Celsius scale? The scale which consists of units Celsius. The scale which consists of the unit Celsius is called a Celsius scale, whereas the scale which consists of unit Fahrenheit is known as Fahrenheit scale. So till here you have to prepare. Next class we will study further more.